Baby food across the pond, a tale of two markets. When it comes to nourishing our tiniest consumers, the baby food aisle can feel like a minefield of choices. Parents scrutinize labels, comparing ingredients with the intensity of seasoned detectives. But what happens when we broaden our perspective beyond our own borders? A closer look at baby food regulations, ingredients, and cultural preferences in the US and Europe reveals a fascinating study in contrasts. The European Union has long held a reputation for stringent food safety standards, and baby food is no exception. Meanwhile, the US system, while constantly evolving, has faced criticism for being more lenient on certain additives and contaminants. This difference in regulatory approach naturally trickles down to the ingredients that end up in those tiny jars and pouches. Beyond regulations, cultural attitudes towards food and feeding practices also come into play. European parents, for instance, often introduce their babies to a wider variety of flavors and textures earlier on, embracing the concept of baby-led weaning. This cultural nuance is reflected in the types of baby food products available in Europe, with a greater emphasis on single-ingredient purees and less reliance on heavily processed multi-ingredient blends.
Regulatory landscape. Are U.S. babies less protected? The stark reality is that American babies are exposed to higher levels of certain heavy metals in their food compared to their European counterparts. This unsettling truth stems from less stringent regulations governing contaminants in the U.S. food supply chain. While both regions have established limits for heavy metals like lead, arsenic, and cadmium in baby food, the European Union consistently sets stricter thresholds. These minute amounts of heavy metals, while seemingly insignificant, can accumulate in a baby's developing system over time, potentially leading to developmental delays and other health concerns. The European Union's proactive approach to minimizing heavy metal exposure in infants reflects a broader commitment to the precautionary principle, erring on the side of caution when it comes to potential risks. The US, on the other hand, has historically taken a more reactive approach, often waiting for a demonstrable threat to public health before implementing stricter regulations. This difference in regulatory philosophy has sparked debate among parents, advocates, and policymakers about whether enough is being done to protect the most vulnerable consumers.
Ingredients matter, unmasking the contents of tiny jars. Peering beyond the colorful labels and enticing claims on baby food packaging, we uncover a world of difference in the ingredients themselves. European baby food brands, driven by stricter regulations and a cultural emphasis on natural and organic products, often boast shorter, cleaner ingredient lists. Single-ingredient purees, simply fruits or vegetables with no added sugars, salts, or preservatives, reign supreme. In contrast, US baby food products, while becoming increasingly health-conscious, still frequently include added sugars, starches, and flavorings. While these additives may not pose immediate health risks, they contribute to a culture of processed food consumption from a young age. This early exposure to added sugars and refined ingredients can shape taste preferences and potentially contribute to health issues later in life.
When it comes to baby food, the quest for purity really sets brands apart. I found that European brands like Holla often emphasize organic ingredients, which is quite reassuring as a parent.
Walking down the baby food aisle can be overwhelming with so many choices. But what I've noticed is that European brands often stand out due to their focus on natural and organic options, which seems to resonate well with health-conscious parents.
As a pediatrician, I often discuss with parents the importance of nutritional content in baby food. It's crucial that we choose options that support healthy growth and development.
Ultimately, choosing the best baby food comes down to understanding the nutritional needs of your child and finding a brand that aligns with your family's values and preferences. It's not just about feeding, it's about nurturing.